example? Yes, I have one here from A levels. I don't know how many of you have really seen this in school. Okay, you see? The question is impact of the fracking boom. You all know what fracking is? You heard of fracking? Yeah, oil is a process whereby US pumps high pressure water jets deep underground into the shale rocks, and the gas, oil in the rock get forced out. That's how they extract oil from deep underground. Okay, so before that, US was very, very reliant on the Middle East for oil. So they were very interested in everything that happens there, but now they don't care, right? They want to turn the Gaza Strip into a tourist site, right? So I don't know if you remember, they invaded Iraq, and they wanted to call it Operation Iraqi Liberation. You know, they're always about liberating other countries. Then they thought, oh no, then our motive is too obvious. OIL. So we decided, okay, let's change it to freedom. Back then, okay, those were the days where they were very, very interested in oil, but now they're self-sufficient. They can even export some oil. Okay? But the issue here is when the question is asking for the impact of an event on the standard of living of a specific group. This is your specific group, who are farmers. Okay? Please do not use GDP. GDP is not supposed to be used because what's the point of going through GDP impacts? Assume population is unchanged, then you link it back to this group. You don't do that, okay? Too indirect, too broad. Instead, this is what you do. You go for direct links. And the good news is the direct links come from the extract. Okay, extract information. So they are not going to tell you, they're not going to expect you to have some intimate knowledge of fracking technology. No. I still remember when I did this is more than 10 years ago, when I was writing the TYS answers. Okay, the points were something like this. When there is fracking, that process requires guavines. Okay, again, not that we need to know this. Okay, the process requires guavines, so the boom means higher derived demand for guavines, higher revenue for the farmers. And immediately that translates into higher material standards. Higher revenue, straight away you have more money to spend. Okay? Right. But then the downside is something along the lines that this is very pollutive. Okay, or the farming process is very pollutive, therefore it hurts non-material as well. Okay, so I'm really doing this just to show you that the answer is not a GDP analysis. There is no AD and AS analysis here. Okay, if you really want to force in the diagram, it's actually a DDSS one. Okay, so if you join us a little bit later, what are we doing here? I am latching on to what we did last week to give you this exception. Because last week was all about this. Whenever the question asks for impact of event on standards of living, do GDP. Still remember last week? But today, first 10 minutes, I'm telling you if the question is about impact on SOL, but a specific group, you don't do GDP. You use the extract to answer it. Okay? So we don't talk about income distribution either. All these are very macro perspective. Sometimes I refer to this as your ion sky analogy. Have you all been there at Ion Sky? Ion Shopping Center all the way up, highest level in Orchard. Once you go up there, you have a bird's eye view of Singapore. It's like a macro view. But they also have those telescopes. You can put in some money and you can peer into the cars, the people walking on the streets. That's a very micro view. So this SOL impact can be a macro or micro one, depending on where you pull your lenses. Okay, so this is not a one-off question. It has appeared in prelims also. I think in Hwa Chong, they had one question on standard of living of tire workers. Not hired workers, but workers in the tire factories. Okay, so just remember this, and then we are ready to move on. Okay. questions, huh? Okay, today the agenda is very straightforward. I'm going to run through the concept of economic growth first, which is mostly recap. Actual growth, potential growth. Okay. Then we will go through a higher order case study. Number one, run through a very powerful application tip with you. Number two, to also go through the level 3 and evaluation criteria for case studies. Because we did that for essays last week. Okay. So after we're done with that, we'll go through the concepts of inclusive and sustainable growth. Then again, another framework. Okay. So one structure a day today, the one structure and one application tip.